All right, welcome to part 3. Let's open this one of Lake Mead. So we're in camera raw, and I'm going to just set the black and white points real quick. Bring down the highlights a little bit. Shadows, make those a little more intense. I like to do auto first to see how it looks. It was a very warm day. That may be too warm, but we can always come back. Let's see what the eyedropper makes it kind of cool. I like it a little warmer, and this is where you can kind of make that decision. I'm not going to do any of these other tools in here, but I am going to go to my lens correction. I don't know why it never recognizes that camera, so I'm going to go to Shift T, which is the transform, and see what this has got for us. Oh, wow. That's obviously the winner. So it looks like the auto is just taking a little bit of the billow out. If we wanted to make sure, we could kind of play around with this, but I don't feel like we need to do too much to it. Let's just continue on. Now it says open image, so I'm going to hold down the shift, hit open object. And this image needs a lot of burning and dodging, because when you look at this image, you're like, oh my gosh, there's the front. But you don't go back into the image because it's very, very bright. So one way you can do that is to make a new layer. You can go layer, new layer, blank layer, or you can go to this little page icon at the bottom of the layer panel. Now, with that, I'm going to grab the brush, B, have black in the front, opacity 100, pretty soft brush. Make that larger using the brackets next to the letter P, and I'm going to paint that in. Now, what I'm going to do now is change the layer blending mode to soft light. And what that's done, it's still at 100%, so that may be too much, but look at what that has done. That has helped a lot, okay? Now, I did go over a little bit here. So one of the things I like to do is add a layer mask to this layer, zoom in to where I went over, and then switch, take out that. Oops. Hit X to put black in the front, and X will hide the little bleed that I had and when I went too far into the water. So you can adjust any layer at any time using a layer mask. And what that does is I'm just hiding the parts where I was super aggressive, right? So I could also do the polygonal lasso and then we hit X, white in the front, and then clear it. And that looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a line. So I zoom in a little bit, grab that brush, and just take a soft brush to it. And this kind of thing works so much better with the Wacom, so please feel free to check that out. So what I did is I burn and dodged on a new layer. I made the foreground darker. I changed the layer blending mode. And then because I had too big of a brush and I had some spill, right? And then I can make a bigger brush to make sure that I've got all of it. Okay, and that's just on the layer mask. So if I right click on a layer mask and I disable it, you can see that dark came right back. So here it is enabled and here it is disabled. So you can see what I cleaned up. Okay, all right, so let's zoom out. Go get that. And I think that this could use a little bit of burning too. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I like to name, like this layer would be burn front, and call this burn side. And with a big black brush, I'm going to just kind of take it over here a little bit. You don't have to be super specific with it. Change it from normal to soft light. I think that looks way too dark, so I'm going to take the opacity down. You want it so that this, which is the focus, right? And also there's some problems with this image that you could probably fix with cropping. You don't want people to look and go, oh, there's the brightest spot, right? Like they are now. And I think that's still a little bit too much. And look at the overflow, this water here. Add a layer mask to that. Make the brush a little smaller. Zoom in and clean up that water. Right? So now we could do this if we started with a selection. In this case, I didn't because these are such organic shapes. There's not one tool that's going to really make that super easy. But let's do one more thing, and we'll use this shape here as an example. So let's get the quick select, and I want to select just this building. All right, so that's sort of a selection, not the greatest, but we have a tool to make it the greatest, and that tool is Q, Quick Mask. And then I can get the brush. Quick Mask, again, is nothing that is saved. You'll notice your layer just goes into kind of an amber. It's just something where you can add and subtract from your selection in a non-destructive way. So make sure that I've got my little thing there. If you spend a lot of time working on something and you know you're going to select it over and over again, this can be kind of laborious. So what you could do is save this selection. And I'm going to mention this, you don't have to remember this, but this is just something that may come into play. If I go up here, you can see that I need to make this brush a little smaller. Okay, and then just kind of clean this up a little bit. Hit X to get the top back in. If you know that you're going to have to select this over and over and over, hit Q to exit, select, save selection. Okay, this is called an alpha channel. And what an alpha channel is just a selection that's saved. That's all it is. And it will go to live in your channels. Right? So if you shut this document down, you could always go here and reload it. And we'll talk about that in another video. So now that I have this, it's a pretty good selection. Got a little bit of the mountain in there. I'm going to grab the lasso, unwrangle. Oops, dang it, I got the... There we go, unwrangle that guy. And now I want this building to be super dark, just the darkest. I want it to look like an evil villain's lair, right? Like this is where Superman would live, and this is obviously where like Lex Luthor would live, okay? So sometimes making a selection, and you can see right here, that little building, right? If you right click, disable, you see the whole, everything's affected by it. But if you click, whatever's black is not affected by it. So these are all ways to burn and dodge, right? If you wanted to take some of the green out of the water, you could simply make a hue saturation layer, go to the greens, take the greens out, and then it might affect other parts of the image. So you just grab that brush tool and on that layer mask, just paint out everything but the water. And probably you could make a very quick selection of that water. That wouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's see if we can't make it more noticeable. But yeah. So if you're like, I want to make it look like it's gold, or it's St. Patrick's Day and it's full of beer, right? So that you can do, and you just have to kind of clean up that layer mask, which you can see. And if your layer masks are, you're like, hey, this is really small, you can always go to this little pull down menu, panel options, and make them big. So they're a lot easier to see. And then just keep remembering to zoom in. See, you've got a little purple overlap here, so you'll know where to go in with the brush. Black and white, and your opacity set at 100. So this is a way to use adjustment layers to burn and dodge and make color adjustments. Sound good?